Man, what a weekend. What a weekend. What a weekend. What a weekend. All right. Today, our guest speaker, and I put in the chat the other day that she is going to be here just today only. So I want to make sure perfecttly clear. People are like, oh, I'll catch the next one. I'll catch the next one. No, 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 Linda, Linda, Linda. Catch this one. I'm glad you guys are on the call today. Well, her book just came out, and we've been promoting her book. And what's the book called? Tapped Out and Tapping In. We did a big thing a couple of weeks ago, Thursday before last, on the channel, which was really well received. Thank you so much. We did live, and we're pumping up her book because we want to see this book out there to everybody's hands. Is that okay? So we want to thank everybody who got her book and who's been on the channel watching the video we did with her. And I want to highlight a couple things in here. Matter of fact, I was shocked. I know she asked me to do something, and I kind of got by me, but I was so glad after Mr. Weber, and then there's yours truly, and there's me and my plane, and thank you so much. I was more than I expected. And also, we have one of our very own on the call here who is always in the background, very quietly in the book, creative support, Mr. Jabri Clemens, right there. There he is. There he is in the book. In the book. Matter of fact, he's quiet. He's behind the scene, and he's always been that way. And then the next page over, we have another picture of Mr. Clemens in the book as well, right here in Tennessee with Miss Jocelyn Driskill when she came up there to do a meeting. Before we get her on the call here, there's a couple things I want to highlight in the book that I thought was pretty instrumental to me because, as you can tell, I've been studying the book. I got tabs here, and on page one, she talked about the vision came to me over 5 years ago when I attended a Kingdom Entrepreneur event hosted by a brilliant pastor Kevin Boyd at his church, True Christian Ministries International in Vegas. That's the church I go to. In fact, Larry Raskin was there. A bunch of us was there from ACN supporting this because it's entrepreneurship, which more pastors need to preach and teach on. But anyway, another thing I want to highlight before we get her on here is on page 78. As you can see, I got it highlighted. She says, someone, you can take this directly to you, someone, somewhere is depending upon you to do what God has called you to do. I'm a firm believer in that. That's powerful. That's powerful. That is so powerful. And a couple other things before we get our guest speaker up here that I thought was pretty phenomenal. On page 197, this picture right here, and it says, and it's Tony on his horse, it says, taking on the risk and riding the journey of life with no regrets. And folks, I don't want any of you to pass away with regrets. You go out there and just conquer what you got to conquer, do what you got to do to make it happen for you and your family. And there's a picture here that I kind of, page 270, that I remember I had dinner with Miss Johnson Driscoll and Mr. Tony Driscoll on that boat right there. Yep, yep. That was an ACN function. We were on the boat. We had a little private dinner, the four of us. It was very meaningful to me. That was the last time I had a great dinner. But I with them, and I'll always remember that, and I thank her for that. And I tell you guys, this is a phenomenal book. And with that said, can we give a warm welcome to one of our own, Regional Vice President, Miss Jocelyn Driskill?
Good morning. So awesome to be here and see all of your bright, shiny faces and the light that is shining off of you into this Zoom today. I'm so grateful, so blessed. And Mr. Thomas, I am truly honored to work alongside of you. And I'm always honored and blessed to be asked to be here. I don't take it for granted. And I also am so very grateful for what you put together with Mr. Jabri Clemens and the team of doing that podcast and, getting the book out. And gosh, God wrote this book through me. It's not my book. I just was the vessel. And I'm grateful that it's being seen because he gets seen and he gets heard. And Mr. Thomas, you pointed out some great things in there. And I'm again honored that you did a testimonial for this book because my mentors and coaches are so powerful in my life. They have given so much to myself and my husband, my family. I can't say enough about the leadership that just continues to breathe life over us and believe in us and give us all they got. At any time, at any moment, I will take it. And I love you so much, Mr. Thomas. Thank you for who you are to all of us and who you are to me personally. So thank you. Hi, guys. Hi, how's everyone this morning? I love it. Well, I'm here. I've been up since 4 a.m. preparing for another uh, leadership I did earlier, and God had me up and my feet hitting the ground at 4 a.m. this morning. Guys, those of you who are guys, you don't have to do your hair in the morning. That is such a gift. That is so nice. Yes, I could have thrown mine at the top of my head, but that was not going to happen today for me. But I'm here and I'm still fighting a little bit of my hoarse throat. So just be with me and be present. And hopefully you can hear through all of that. God has me speaking a lot these days. And we just came off a huge Palm Desert leadership that was just off the charts. And I was there 8 days because we had back-to-back events. And gosh, I'm just walking. Actually, I'm not walking, I'm flying. Anybody want to fly with me? I'm flying. So we're going to have a conversation here. And I'm just going to show you, I don't have slides today except this one slide. I'm going to share with you what the message is today so you can see it. And then we're going to dive in and talk about it. So this is the message, the power of your why and your word. The power of your why and your word. How many of you feel the power in those two words? Because your why, the mechanics of ACN is the system. What we do in this business is we empower, I'm all about empowering others to empower others. How about you? And if we can stand in every conversation that we have out there by knowing that we are empowering others, you're going to attract the right people to have the conversation about our business. That's just going to automatically happen. I'm going to dive into that in a minute, but I want to talk about the power of your why. Everybody have a piece of paper? I want to make sure that you're putting this in big letters. You can write it down right now, but I want you to get real with your why. Because 1000%, which there isn't any, so it's 100%, but 100% of our success in ACN right out of the gate, or anything that Tony and I, or I personally have ever done, because I was a single mom, remember, raising a daughter for 8 years on my own as a hairdresser, running a hair salon, and running a business, being a single mom and doing that as well. And I had to have, guess what? A powerful why. Because to get up every morning and get her ready, get her prepared, having stuff prepared the night before so that she's getting to school and she's ready to take on school, and then I'm taking on a full day of building a business, a salon. It's not easy. But I did very well because I was prepared, but my why was driving me. My why. What was my why? My why was, well, first of all, I was a single mom and I wanted to give my daughter the best life I could as a single mom. And it made me cry thinking that maybe I wasn't good enough. All the conversations that go in your head. Am I going to, I had to build this business from scratch. So that means I got to show up every day for long days and be a single mom. So finding the right places for my daughter to be. I didn't have a choice to be a stay-at-home mom. That is a gift to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. And if you were, that is also not a job. It's your kids, but it takes time and effort and consistency and love and to have patience, right? You got to be committed to patience when you're home. And so why I'm talking about this why is because to have success in life, your why has to be driving it. It has to be powerful. So what are you writing down? Can someone's put in the chat? What are you writing? Share some whys with me, because I want to see how powerful your whys are. Or if you can unmute yourself, you can also share that way. I want you to tell me and speak it, because when you start speaking your why and you start sharing it, it starts getting into your spirit and your heart. I don't do anything well unless my why is driving me. Does everybody understand that? Does it make sense? Because you can want to make a lot of money. That's not a why. This world, it runs by money. So if your why is driving your business, the money's going to come because you're a leader in action. And by the way, leader, if you say you're a leader, that already means action. A leader is action. So if I'm a leader, I am action. Write that down. I'm a leader, I am action. And it's the ways you show up in this world and the way you're being that's going to attract the people. But the way you're being is driven by your why. You're going to show up as empowering. One of the mission is to be the #1 leadership development organization in the world, because our goal is to impact 8.1 million. My goal is to impact 8.1 billion people in this world. And how do we do it? One person at a time. And the way you show up in empowering conversations, and let me go backwards just a second, because I always want to keep going forward. But how many of you know that every day you wake up, there's another force that wants to have your mind? And it wants to take you in an opposite direction of what your why is going to take you. And those are disempowering conversations that are not serving any of us when they arrive. You wake up saying, I'm not good enough, whatever that is. Those disempowering conversations have to be muted out. And what's going to mute it out? Your why. You're going to put your feet on the ground and you're going to show that other voice who means business today. And how you're going to walk out and show up in the world, and having these incredible conversations that will empower someone to want to know more about you. So when you're walking out in this world, as people shared, any shares on your why? So let me look at these. Retire my husband. I love it. That was one of my whys as well. Be confident with your consistency in your business, to save my life and keep my light from being sniffed out before it's time. Is it Cardell? That's awesome. Retire my beautiful wife. Yes. How powerful is that? So standing in power. Are you showing up in power, like standing in that power with these whys when you're talking to people? My why is my grandson's future. Yes, Pierce. My grandkids. I'm with you. Anybody have grandkids? I know Trisha does. We had this conversation the other day. Those little lights, don't let their lights be dimmed by anything out there. It is how we show up for them and they see us. See, that is one of my driving forces, and my why is to show my grandkids that it doesn't matter how old you are or what you've done in the past and what gifts that you cultivated before. You have many gifts that God's given you, many, many, many gifts. And you can continue to activate those gifts. And so I want them to see their grandmother doing that and inspiring them and cultivating the seeds and the gifts they have inside of them. And when I'm driven by them, is a huge part of my why, is to leave a legacy that is bigger than I can even see right now, because God is so pushing me in that direction of legacy. And why this book was written and why I was able to complete it is because I stood in my why. You guys many of you know, and Mr. Thomas mentioned it a minute ago about Tony, is that Tony was one of my whys. Years ago, when we saw ACN, we lost $12.5 million on the market. How many of you remember the experience of the downturn of the economy? Well, you guys, what's happening right now? What is happening right now in this world? A lot similar, different, but similar. And we have the answer. And ACN was the answer to our prayer. Tony and I were digging in a deep hole, and it felt like we were just getting deeper and deeper for a while. And so with that, Tony and I took on ACN, and we took it on with our why. Yes, one was to create financial income, right? We needed income coming in. But the biggest why was our legacy and our future. And we saw ACN being able to be the vehicle for that. ACN's a vehicle, and it's a phenomenal vehicle. It's probably, in my opinion, I will say to you, ACN has the greatest vehicle in this world to create whatever it is, all the possibilities that you want to create. This vehicle can give it to you. You all know that, right? So let's just say and I'm going to say for myself, I'm created in God's image. I would say all of you as well are. I'm not here to put that on you today, but I want you to know that if you stood in this, that you're already standing being perfect, whole, and complete, because that's how he created you. That you have a blank piece of paper. Let's just say it's a big drawing, a big piece of paper, and you have a blank piece of paper to start creating all the possibilities that are available to you. You all know you have unlimited possibilities available to you. And ACN's a vehicle to help unlock all the possibilities that you want to have. Are we getting too serious here? Smile about it, because it's a great thing that we have all these possibilities, and we don't have to have the limiting beliefs and the unempowering conversations that don't get us anywhere. But we step every day onto that floor with our why, and that that is taking the driver's seat of your vehicle to whatever the possibilities you're creating. Put them on the board. Declare your goals. You just declared what you're doing this week. What's your plan? What you just did. Declare what you're doing this week. Make a declaration and have that. Declare it. Stand for it. So when I say that, I go to the power of your word part. The power of your word. If is your word more important to you first? Because your word should be important to you first. When you speak anything, say anything, it should mean something to you. When you think of the word as, for instance, what is that meaning? I would say it's a bond that you're giving to someone. Your word, it's a commitment, right? Commitment to your word. And how much does your word mean to you? Because there is no value that you can put on your word. There's not 1 ounce of value, but what your word can do is create huge value in this world. So if I say that I am empowering others to empower others, and we have the #1 leadership development organization in the world, that is my word. I am standing for that every single day. And my why is so much bigger than I could even share on this Zoom today, this leadership today. My grandkids are one, my daughter, my son-in-law, all my family, and everyone around me is to bring leadership into my family, be the leader in my family. I am a leader. That doesn't mean an ACN. I am a leader means I am a leader in all parts of my life. And leader means action. So I am in action in every single part of my life. And I am committed to the why that's driving this incredible vehicle. And I am my word. When I say something, I am being my word. So when you step into this world, remember, we are human beings. We're not human doings. So it's how you're being in this world will create the action, which is the doing part. So you're not doing first, you're being first. And you need to put yourself first, because when you show up for you, you're showing up for others. Do you know that me being here today, I'm showing up for me? I will always show up for me first. I'm showing up for Mr. Thomas. But for me being here today means there's someone someone here that is needing to hear this message and be empowered to go out there and be all that God created them to be. And so that means there's a thing that we talk about. It's called give and take. And how many of you would say you're givers? Givers, naturally a giver. Most of you are probably not natural takers, but there's a definition of taking that maybe you have forgotten, or maybe you haven't even thought of. When you're enabling others not to take the lead, you're taking. That's not giving. You give by showing up, by being a leader and empowering those new people in your business to lead. Give them the baton so they can lead. Don't enable them to depend on you. We are called independent business owners or independent business partners. We're independent. So just because they come in and they don't come with business skills, maybe but they're a leader. So they have every opportunity to lead. Help develop them to be leaders and lead. That's what Mr. Thomas does here every single day of the week on these Zooms. He is inspiring and empowering every single one of us to take the lead and do it without him, right, Mr. Thomas? He doesn't need us to be enabled by him. He doesn't need us to hold on to his coattails. He already inspires and empowers just by who he's being and where he shows up and in his conversations. Make sense, everybody? Smile. I need your smiles. I need your energy. Bring it. Come on. I know I know it can be a little bit of an intense, but I feel like it's getting in there. I'm feeling like this is getting into you and that you're going to go out and empower wherever you go, and you're going to have conversation after conversation. So when it comes to your word and your why and getting out there and having conversation, one of the other greatest gifts you can activate is this. You're listening. How are you listening? Are those disempowering conversations going when you're talking to people and you're asking questions and then you're not even responding to their responses? Are you thinking about the next thing they're going to say and then you just totally responded to something that you were thinking, not what they actually said? I got to get this deep into your spirit, guys, because your listening skills, that's a gift. And God gave them to you. You have two ears. You have only one mouth. So less of this, more of this. Because you can't know what people want unless you talk to them and ask them the right questions. Like, how's the economy treating you today? What are they saying? Everybody has a different response, but I think a lot of them, the majority, are going to have it's going to sound similar. It might be a different response, but it's going to sound similar. They're tired, they're overworked, they lost their job, business has slowed down, whatever that looks like. Our politics is going off the charts, whatever it's going to look like. But you're going to be able to now form the right next question, and you're going to be able to relate to them. And you're going to empower them to want to talk to you more and have a conversation. And they're going to want to know what you do. That's going to just be a natural thing. It's such a natural thing to go out in this world. So when people talk about how many exposures or how many peaks or whatever, they're just asking you, how many people are you going to share the plan with, right? Peaking is one thing, exposures is another, sharing the plan. But how do you get to showing the plan? Just having powerful conversations. The plan is going to come. People are going to want to know what you do. And then you can say, hey, are you open to making extra money around what you're currently doing? That's a generic but easy one to ask, because what I found is diversifying my income is really important in our life today. In fact, my husband and I were able to create residual income, which today has blessed me in a way that I couldn't see 15 years ago. How many of you want to have that conversation? A decision because someone said to Jocelyn Driskill, Jocelyn, I saw something the other day. I just need your opinion. You've owned a business, you and Tony, you've owned and operated businesses, and I really respect you. Are you open to a conversation? And I said, of course. I didn't ask her any questions. I had no idea what I was seeing. I went to a living room filled with 60 people in it. Get good at filling a room, because people are waiting on you. People are praying for you. People are praying for your conversation. And when I sat in that living room, it took less than 5 minutes for me to say I'm in and sign up Tony at the same time. We double dipped in income because, again, it makes too much sense. You talk to the right message out and you are showing up with your why. So you're being your why, you're being your word, and you're being empowerment, and you're being a leader. Gosh, what could you do? I need your smiles again. What can you do? What can you do in this world? How many of you want to be an impact to 8.1 billion people? When we go together and we do it one person at a time, 10 people at a time, 60 people in a room at a time, 60 on a Zoom, I want to empower you to tell you that is who you are. You were born a leader. Who told you you weren't a leader? Your self-talk over the years, whatever came before that, and I don't claim to be know all your lives and what your background is, but that's in the past. That's not now. Don't go back. Don't go back to whatever happened to you. Things happen to us all the time, but it's not what happens to us. It's what we do with that, what we do to empower us and move forward. I could say what happened to me is my husband died tragically a year and a half ago, and I could still be here today telling that story. But I'm living my life in honor of that great man that blessed my life for 26 years. I'm not living in my past. And yes, I can still tear up for it because I love that man more than any human on this life besides my daughter and grandchildren, right? And he's still here. I just know the connection to that spirit world, and I know he's here, and I know he's saying this right now to all of you. Let's go. Stop holding back. Stop standing in limiting beliefs and disempowering conversations. No more. Cut it off. No more. We're going forward together because together we win. How many of you are winners? You better all be raising your hands even off camera. You're all winners. We win together. It is a win-win conversation always, not a win-lose. Nobody loses here. We win together. So I pray that you are starting to write that why down, and you're going to put it somewhere where you look at it every day. And when you look at it every day, that those feet hit the ground, you walk out that door empowered to go empower others and have empowering conversations, inspiring others to want to know what you do and be a great listener so that you have the empowering conversations based on what they're telling you. And you're inviting them to a presentation to meet someone like Mr. Al Thomas, who can share his story and who can and edify you. The reason you edify someone other than yourself and you don't do this by yourself is because then the edification comes back to you and it shows who you are as a leader in this business. Does that make sense? You already are a leader. This business, your life, whatever, you are that. But leader is action. So you take action every single day on your dreams, your declarations. Your life is waiting for you. Your family is waiting for you. Life is going to happen anyway. I'm a testament to that. And I care enough about you, and Mr. Thomas cares enough about you to breathe life and speak life every day into you. But you got to do that for you. I have to do that for me every single day. And I just want to put a blessing over each and every one of you to take this in and stand in your why and your word. Don't break your word to yourself and your commitment. You're going to be flying. Are you flying with me? Am I enrolling you? Fly. I want you to fly with me. I am enrollment. Say that. I am enrollment. I am enrollment. I am going to enroll people into my vision. Without vision, people perish. And with that being said, Mr. Thomas, I turn it back to you.